What's going on, Jerome's? So it's a bit of a roller coaster for second-year quarterback jumping Jaren Hall, a.k.a. the Roman Missile, a.k.a. Sylvie's butt. That's right. So coming in as a fifth-round pick, number 164 overall, was pressed into action as a rookie, as the Vikings had that gong show at quarterback. That second drive, man, against the Falcons, we'll always have that. That's right. But then was given a start later on in the season against the Packers on the last day of 2023, and just wasn't very good. Got pulled at halftime, and a lot of Vikings fans had given up on Jaren Hall. Now, I think that he was put in kind of a rough situation in the Packers game, especially if Kevin O'Connell was going to pull him at halftime, but that's beside the point. Now, obviously, Jaren Hall does have some great attributes, but he was a fifth-round pick, but was undersized coming in. But, I mean, maturity is an asset. He's a little bit older of a prospect as well, but he's got a good arm, quick release, and he seems to be meshing into the Kevin O'Connell offense pretty damn well. And we said, yes, J.J. McCarthy's going to be the man, but would love to see Jaren Hall potentially emerge as a long-term backup for McCarthy. Just like to see that synergy. Ooh, and other random corporate terms. But the Vikings got a decision. So 53-man cutdowns around the corner officially have to be in by Tuesday afternoon, and generally teams like to keep two quarterbacks on the 53, potentially one on the practice squad, just to save roster space, because especially when you have a numbers crunch, especially towards the bottom of the roster, a lot of young guys you want to keep in the sphere. I mean, having that extra roster spot is important. And Sam Darnold, obviously quarterback 1. Nick Mullins, I believe, is going to be quarterback 2. The veteran has earned the trust of Kevin O'Connell, has been here the longest. And now the question is, will they gamble to try to get Jaren Hall on the practice squad, or will they keep him on the 53-man roster? Poll results. So we asked you, the people. 42% say, yeah, he would make it through waivers and get through the practice squad, and 58% say, nah. Now, part of this certainly could be recency bias, as Jaren Hall put together a fantastic preseason campaign. Although the first game against the Raiders, but was dynamic against the Browns and also was phenomenal against the Eagles. Overall, he was 28 of 46, 60.9% completion percentage. Nice. 339 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, 0 picks, a 112.5 quarterback rating. Now, you could say, yes, this was against 2s, 3s, and 4s, but also he was playing with 2s, 3s, and 4s. Also, that was one of the reasons why they pulled him from the game against the Eagles. What Kevin O'Connell said is a thigh contusion, but that third, fourth team offensive line was very poopy. So they're just trying to protect him in that spot. But I do like Jaren Hall, but I don't want it to be just recency bias that, hey, he played really well, so obviously teams would be scrambling to put him on the 53. I don't know if that would necessarily be the case, but is it a gamble that the Vikings would want to take, especially with a guy that they like, and especially in a season where they're already down J.J. McCarthy? So a couple factors here. Number one, would Hall get through waivers? Now, if a team claims him, he has to be placed on their 53-man roster. Now, there's a handful of teams out there that I'm sure would love Jaren Hall as a quarterback 3 or potentially on their own practice squad, but do they? They're in a. I mean, a lot of teams are in a similar situation as the Vikings. Like, roster spots are at a premium, and would they claim Jaren Hall as a quarterback 3 or potentially see him as a backup of the future, QB2, and would they burn a roster spot to do that? Number two, how much do you trust Nick Mullins, and how much do you see him as part of the future? So Mullins is a free agent after this year, and do you see him as a long-term backup? Like, Mullins, still is only 28-ish, and Jaren Hall, do you like Jaren Hall eventually to be better than Mullins? Do you trust him more as the quarterback of the future? Do you see him as that future, or is it a spot like we talked about before? Jaren Hall needed some good performances against the Browns and the Eagles. Otherwise, I think the Vikings would have gone fishing and trying to find a different quarterback 3, whether it's Dorian Thompson-Robinson, keeping track of the waiver wire at 53-man cuts. So the Vikings, it could have been a draw for Uno reverse. That's not a card, but it should be in terms of, hey, we're happy with Jaren Hall, or we would have tried to find another quarterback. Also, would Hall leave if he cleared waivers? So that's the thing, too. Once a player clears waivers from the initial 53-man roster cutdown, they don't automatically have to sign with the practice squad of the team that released him. He could go and sign to another practice squad because he would be a free agent. It's exactly how the Vikings ended up with Kyle Sluter Dutch pronunciation, in 2017. He had a phenomenal preseason with the Broncos, the pride of Northern Colorado, but they tried to put him on the practice squad. He cleared waivers, and then the Vikings all of a sudden like swooped in, just like, yoink, we'll pay you a significant chunk of money to be on our practice squad. And that's exactly what happened. Now, Jaren Hall, I mean, Jaren Hall's a smart dude. Like, he could see the writing on the wall here, and maybe he still thinks that he could be a starter in this league down the line because he looked at Kenny Pickett yesterday. It's like, oh my God, Kenny Pickett was a starter and a first-round pick. So he could be like, I would have a better chance signing on somewhere else to potentially move up, since the Vikings do have J.J. McCarthy here. That's certainly on the table. So, I mean, it's a spot where the Vikings, they could gamble, try to get Jaren Hall onto the practice squad, but would the juice be worth the squeeze? And also, if another team throughout the season, they could protect him throughout the year on the practice squad, but also if he was unprotected, a team could potentially claim him and add them to their 53-man roster, although the Vikings would have a chance to right of first refusal with the practice squad. But do you just sidestep that and just keep Darnold, Mullins, and Hall on the 53 and use up that extra roster spot? It's a is the juice worth the squeeze situation. And like I said, I mean, people don't think that he will get through waivers. I think it would be closer than a lot of people think, but also, is it something where Kevin O'Connell wants to risk it, especially since O'Connell saw how many quarterbacks he freaking went through last year? Hopefully we don't have a repeat of that. Or is it a spot where Kevin O'Connell just really likes the future of Jaren Hall? I guess we're going to find out. But your thoughts are thoughts. Would Jaren Hall make it through waivers onto the practice squad, or should keep him on the 53? Let us know your thoughts. Our thoughts, comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes on Support the Work. Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol, production value.